I am so excited about this week's Bible study recap on Sabbath rest. It's a topic that's been misunderstood and misrepresented throughout history. But today, we're going to uncover the truth about the Sabbath, its purpose, and how we can experience true rest in our lives. Get ready, because if you put this into practice, your life will be changed. Let's talk about a story right from the gospel. Picture this. During the Sabbath, the disciples decided to pick some grain. Sounds harmless, right? Well, the Pharisees didn't think so. They started criticizing them, saying what they were doing was unlawful because it was being done on the Sabbath. But Jesus shut them down with one powerful statement in Mark 2:27. The Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. What Jesus was saying is that it wasn't what we did or didn't do for the Sabbath, but what the Sabbath was supposed to do for us. Just like back then, today some folks still haven't quite grasped the true essence of the Sabbath. Instead of seeing it as a gift from God for our benefit, they've turned it into a laundry list of do's and don'ts, or they just don't do it at all. The Jews have 39 categories of prohibited work on the Sabbath, some of which might sound downright bizarre, like not being allowed to tear toilet paper. But here's the kicker. These rules, rather than enhancing rest, can actually be burdensome and even hinder our ability to do good for others. They become more about what we can do for the Sabbath rather than what the Sabbath is supposed to do for us. If you're anything like me, you probably spend the entire week working hard, only to find that when you finally have a chance to rest, the to-do list at home seems never-ending. From groceries to home projects, errands to house cleaning, it feels like there's always something demanding your attention. And then Sunday rolls around, bringing in all of its rushes of getting the kids ready, heading to church, planning meals for the day, and gearing up for Monday. Before you know it, the day is over and you're exhausted, ready for bed, and you start the cycle all over again. So how can we carve out time for a full day of rest amidst our busy schedules? Consider this. If you dedicated just 15 minutes a day, either before bed or upon waking up, to tackle some of the tasks usually reserved for the weekend, you'd be amazed at what you could accomplish. If you did this for 6 days a week, that's an hour and a half of work completed. And if you extended it to 30 minutes a day, you'd have 3 hours of tasks crossed off your list. Plus, if you share your living space with others, you could potentially double or triple that time. Not only would this approach free up your time for a day of rest, but it would also contribute to a cleaner and more organized home throughout the week, making tasks feel lighter and more manageable. You see, the Sabbath was instituted by God for our well-being, and we should make sure we are taking the time to experience it. It serves us as a reminder of God's rest after creation, a time to kick back, relax, recharge, and rid ourselves of all of the burdens and stresses we face on a daily basis. It is a time for us to reconnect with God and each other. But what makes this rest any different than laying on the couch and being lazy once a week? Hebrews 4:9-10 gives us some insight. It says, "There remains then a Sabbath rest for the people of God. For anyone who enters God's rest also rests from their work, just as God did from his." There it is. Now we're getting somewhere. It's about God's rest. This isn't just about physical relaxation. It's about experiencing spiritual and mental peace. It's about freeing ourselves from the chaos, distractions, and stress of our daily life and trusting in God, our Creator and Provider. So how do we find this rest, and where do we look for it? Matthew 11:28 has something to say about it. Jesus invites us to rest in Him. "Come to me, all who are labored and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." It's not about clocking out and kicking up your feet. It's about finding solace in His presence. His yoke is easy and His burden is light, offering relief from the heavy burdens we carry. We take the day to purposely release everything to Him. I've come up with a practical guide to experiencing Sabbath rest in our lives. I call it the REST model, or the R.E.S.T model. We are to reflect, embrace, surrender, and transform. Reflect is we take some time to look back on our week, identifying areas where we need rest and renewal. Strip away the distractions such as cell phones, social media, and other electronics that distract us. These distractions don't get rid of the stress or release the burden in our lives, but takes our mind off of it temporarily, only to find it compounding itself when stopped and we no longer are distracted. Embrace is to cultivate and embrace gratitude for the blessings in our life, even amidst challenges. Embrace others as you engage in your activities that rejuvenate your mind, body, and spirit. Spend time with fellow believers, friends, and family, finding rest in our community. Surrender is where you are reminded to surrender your worries, anxieties, and burdens to God, trusting in His faithfulness and provision. Let go of control and experience His peace. Lastly, transform. This allows God to transform your heart and mind as you experience His rest. Let go of striving and embrace His grace, knowing that true transformation comes from Him. Just like Paul says in Romans, for us to not be conformed to the world, but be transformed by the renewing of our minds. I encourage you to put these principles into practice and discover the true meaning of Sabbath rest, a rest that goes beyond physical relaxation to encompass spiritual renewal and transformation. Love you guys, and can't wait to hear some of the stories about how embracing the Sabbath is transformative in your life. As always, make it a great day.